G'day. So there's a lot of talk about melee and demon hunters being really OP, blah blah blah. But the good news is if you play demo, they're actually really powerful and really viable in this patch. So I decided I'd make a quick in-depth guide and I'll cover things like talents, rotations, and some cool tips and tricks and strats you can use. Okay, so on the first talent here we go Shadow Flame for the Soul Shard generation. Second tier Implosion, obviously. Third tier we need Demon Skin or we'll die. It's simple as that. We can't take the CC. As nice as it would be, we need Demon Skin. And next tier we take Soul Harvest just for the burst damage really, and these just don't come in handy with the build and the spells we use. Then Dark Pact pretty much all the time. Maybe Demonic Circle in some niche 3v3 situations. And at 90 we take Synergy as 40% damage increase is seriously amazing. It's the difference between one-shotting someone and not. So keep an eye on your buff and always take this. And lastly we take Soul Conduit as we just need more soul shards. And you can luck out, you can get like a free set of imps even, and it's just overall the best. These are too terrible really for what we're doing. Okay, so on the first tier I typically take Relentless as I'm an orc and I've got the 20% stun duration reduction, so on top of that stuns just fall off. But if you're not an orc, all of these are pretty competitive, so you can kind of just take your pick. Next tier, Mind Quickness is the way to go. 6% haste is faster Shadow Bolts, faster Fears, more Soul Shards, and the others are just unreliable or niche. And next tier, with so much melee and physical damage in the game, Curse of Weakness just becomes so strong, and I take this a lot of the time, and it does huge work. Tongues is obviously just if you're versing casters instead. And Fragility, I feel like it's actually a trap talent. Damage is so high that you don't need the 20% health reduction, and it's got a big cooldown, so I've been rocking the Curse of Weakness and Tongues, and the defensive options have just been much better. And next tier, Casting Circle. 10 seconds of being immune to silence and interrupts is like crazy, frankly. So I've been using that a lot. And if someone interrupts you with a stun or a CC, then I mean, you know, that's kind of value right there anyway. And it lasts for 10 seconds, so you're probably still going to cast anyway. And next tier, you lose your Fel Guard, but 15% more damage and the 0.5 seconds of Shadow Bolt is seriously good. You're getting so many more Soul Shards, and you're doing so much more damage. Plus the Succubus isn't too bad. I mean, Seduce is pretty handy, and the knockback can actually work as a, you know, poor man's interrupt, or if you're in a BG you can knock people off the edge, that kind of thing. It's not too bad. And on the final tier, this Fel Lord, he's just a lifesaver. He's so good. Against all the melee that's out there at the moment, he's amazing. You can just chuck him down on the corner of a pillar or something. You can have your healer or your team just kite through it, and for the whole duration they're just doing nothing, or they're getting smashed by this guy. So yeah, he's great. And Observer obviously for casters, but if people kind of learn to counter it or kill it or something, it might be better to actually take Master Summoner, as this actually lets you get more single target bursts than just a flat out implosion build. But I mean, I'll talk about how it works a bit later, but most of the time Fel Lord is going to be the way to go. I won't talk much about the artifact tree as we'll get everything eventually, but the main talents we want to get are Doom of Azeroth, just for more Doom damage, Doom Doubled, and Soul Skin. So they're all at different bloody parts of the tree, but mainly you want to get to Doom Doubled ASAP. You can I've skipped all my golds to get there, because they're all just about having your pets alive and actually doing damage, and we're playing Implosion and blowing them up, so yeah. We just want double Doom, do damage, and Soul Skin. Okay, so in this clip I'll show you guys how I time my burst windows with Doom procs. Since Doom procs for a lot of damage and it gives you a Soul Shard, you can actually time a series of like 4 or 5-ish, or even more up to like 7 or 8 Doom procs with your burst window to get a lot of extra Soul Shards and a lot of extra imps. So personally, I'm sure there's add-ons that can track it, but I just use the stopwatch, so I just click the time, click stopwatch, and this pops up. So when I start dooming everything, I'll have a quick glance at the clock. So here we see it's 20 minutes and 1 second. And Doom takes about 17-18 seconds to proc with the PvP template. So I just chuck 20 seconds on and then chuck a few off. So I know that about 17, 18 seconds, I'm going to start getting a massive amount of soul shards. So I'll start playing the clip. So I can see a bunch of targets, I'll doom them all up, and once that's done, I'll start building my actual soul shards from like Shadow Bolt and Shadow Flame. So I always build up to 5 first, so you have the extra one in store, and you see the clock is at 17, 18, so I know it's time to start setting out those Hand of Good Arms. So I've got one out at the moment, and you see I'm at 3 soul shards, or I was at 3 soul shards when I started casting Gul'dan, because I knew that Doom was going to proc while I was casting, so it would actually take the full amount. So we get a second set off, I see we've got 3 again, do 1 Shadow Bolt into another Gul'dan, and 3 again, another Gul'dan. So now we have 4 whole sets of 4 imps set up. And I go to blow up this Warlock because he was in the group, but he moved away, which kind of sucks. But you can see he's at 1.3 mil, he's a Warlock, so he's probably got Soul Link. And he just completely evaporates. Since that last clip, the Warlock moved away and we didn't really get to see the AoE, I actually found this other clip from a Threes game where we kind of messed up. We lost our healer early, but my DK friend and I actually we kept fighting. And you can see we're getting absolutely pummeled. I'm almost dead. They're all pretty much full health. But as you can see, the Dooms are about to proc. So I chuck down a casting circle and start putting out some Gul'dans, and I'll play that through. Alright, so I've got 5 shards, 1 Gul'dan, second Gul'dan with the Doom proc. And since they're all stacked up, boom, all dead. We just won a 2v3. So that's the power of the Implosion AoE. Now I'll show you guys the other way to burst. So we just went through the Implosion one where you want to get between 2 and 4 sets of full imps. But now I'll show you one where you go for 2 sets of imps and 1 set of Dreadstalkers, and you actually use your artifact ability. So for this one, you're going to want to take that instant cast Dreadstalkers PvP talent. But I mean, the trade-off with this is you get more single target burst, and it's pretty easy to do since you don't need to always rely on the Doom procs. But you miss out the utility of the Fel Lord, which in this melee sort of meta seems to be really, really important. But anyway, here's how you do it. So I built up to 5 shards again, and I'm starting my first Gul'dan, and I'll just Shadow Bolt, Shadow Flame, sling out the Dreadstalkers, get my next full set of imps, empower them so they get more health, so more damage for the artifact, pop my cooldowns, I've got my synergy proc, and I see a nice, relatively healthy Resto Druid up there. So I'll artifact and Implosion. And down he goes. So what do we actually hit him for? So he's at 70% health, 1.3 mil. Implosion chunks him down to 500k. And then we overkill him by an enormous amount with a 1 mil artifact crit. So that would have killed him from full health. And that's without Zerker buff, so you can see how powerful that combo is. And just for fun, here's another one with Zerking where we actually full health a druid down. So Implosion, artifact, dead. 100%. No chance. Alrighty, so now I'll just go over a few little tips and tricks with the Warlock that I can show you. So this first one is with Dark Pact. So right now I've got my Succubus out, and I've just used Dark Pact, and it gives you about, well, outside of PvP, a 600k shield. Now what's interesting about it is the shield is based off your pet's current health, so you can actually empower your pet first and use it to get a much bigger shield. Now if you cast empowerment before your shield, it will increase the health of your pet, and so our shield went from 580k to a 900k shield. So I mean, it's not always going to be viable to cast that before you shield, but if you can, it can give you pretty much twice the shield, so it can be really worth it. Alright, so here I'll show you a neat little trick for getting more soul shards out of your dooms. So this one uses, or takes advantage of the pandemic effect of your dots. So if you cast a doom and then reapply the doom, it'll get an increased duration, and it'll still do its normal first proc, but the second one will occur quicker, but it'll do a lot less damage. So I'll just quickly show you how that works with soul shards. So if you double cast Doom, you will actually, so I'll just skip ahead. So we're at 3 soul shards right now. And alright, so there's the first damage proc, and we've still got a few, like 4 or so seconds left. And then the second one procs for a lot less damage and gives us no extra soul shard. So that's the problem. So now I'll show you how you can actually get 2 out of that pandemic effect. I went ahead and tested like a million different time differences between the first application of Doom and the second. And I don't exactly know why this works, maybe someone else can tell me, but I found that if you cast the second Doom about 4 to 5 seconds after the first, the second proc will actually give you a soul shard for a much shorter Doom duration. So I'll go ahead and play it. So the first tick goes ahead there, yep, gives us a soul shard. And then about 7-8 seconds later, the second one's going to tick through. And there we go. So it did roughly half the damage, but it still gave us the soul shard. So how would you actually use this? So if you're in a BG, you might doom like 4 or 5 targets, and after that time you could actually start dooming again if you wanted to have like a massive soul shard boost later on. So the only reason you'd really want to do this maybe is if you're getting trained, you can't cast, that sort of thing, but it's kind of handy. It can even come up in arena and stuff when you're just kiting around. It's something to do to let you get some extra soul shards and that little extra edge. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful in some way, and I'd like to make some more videos on Demo War because I'm really enjoying it so far. So feel free to leave any comments, criticism and whatnot so I can make the videos better moving forward. So I know the sound quality kind of sucked, so I'll try and work on that. And yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, just comment with any feedback. Cheers.